Gas atoms in the atmosphere are energized during the day by UV radiation from the sun.
They've been excited by high-energy sunlight.
As the atoms return to their previous state, they release the energy as light.
We think this process is airglow, and a particular class of airglow that occurs at night.
The colors are no alien energy force field, but rather, scientists believe, a series of chemical reactions in the atmosphere.
So what's really cool about this is that it's the air itself, essentially creating its own little rainbow.
Sodium atoms in our atmosphere give off a yellow light. Oxygen atoms in our atmosphere give off a greenish light. And oxygen at higher altitudes gives off a reddish light, which we see here.
The processes were similar to your glow-in-the-dark silly putty, where light is being absorbed and then re-emitted afterwards through chemical reactions.
It may well be that the bright flash in the skies of Russia was a meteorite crashing to Earth. The fact that the orange halo was caught on camera from space is now thought to be no more than a coincidence.
We still don't know everything that there is to know about our atmosphere, that we're constantly finding out new things, and we're discovering different ways to look at it.
The mystery of a missing American warplane and a bizarre plane crash killing hundreds.
Got a lot of divers that are searching for wreckage. Yeah, it's a little eerie.
What is this plane? How did it get there?
There's something weird happening in this Minnesota lake.
Buy one, get one free this Memorial Day at True Value. Easy Care Ultra Premium Paints. Buy 1 gallon, get one free. Buy a Green Thumb hose, get a nozzle free. Buy a Fiskars lopper and get a head shear free. Behind every project is a True Value.
What makes Wendy's Baconator different? While other guys use frozen beef from far away, Wendy's only serves fresh beef from ranches close by.
So we don't have to freeze it.
Add 6 strips of thick Applewood smoked bacon, and Wendy's Baconator isn't just different, it's deliciously different.
Prestige creams, not living up to the hype. One jar shatters the competition. Olay Regenerist hydrates skin better than creams costing over $100, $200, and even $400. Fact check this ad in Good Housekeeping. Olay, ageless.
Heineken tastes perfect every single time, and that doesn't happen by accident. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster, almost as long as it took me to master this look. Still practicing. It takes 15 years to become a Heineken brewmaster. There's more behind the star.
No. I was wondering if an electric toothbrush really cleans better than a manual, and my hygienist says it does, but they're not all the same. Turns out they're really different. Who knew? I had no idea. So she said look for one that's shaped like a dental tool with a round brush head.
Go pro with Oral-B. Oral-B's rounded brush head surrounds each tooth to gently remove more plaque. And Oral-B cross-action is clinically proven to remove more plaque than Sonicare Diamond Clean.
My mouth feels so clean. I'll only use an Oral-B.
The #1 brand used by dentists worldwide. Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Looking for balance in your digestive system? Try Align Probiotic. For a non-stop, sweet treat goodness, hold on to your Tiara kind of day. Get 24/7 digestive support with Align, the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Now in kids' chewables.
Meta Appetite Control. It's your glass of willpower that helps keep cravings far, far away. Feel less hungry with the natural fiber and clinically proven Meta Appetite Control from Metamucil.
Some moments are worth the journey. We'll help get the most out of every mile. Chase down your passion. Never halfway. Hankook Tire.
Thursday, the most mind-blowing, the most impossible structures, and this week, the largest aircraft to ever soar above the planet. Impossible Engineering, new episode Thursday at 9 on Science and on the app.
February 24th, 2016, Minneapolis. A reporter at the Star Tribune newspaper gets a lead on a story from an anxious reader.
A resident of Minneapolis writes to the local newspaper and says they're seeing in a satellite image what appears to be an outline of an airplane smack in the middle of Lake Harriet in Minneapolis.
The editor immediately breaks the story online.
So this sparks a huge reaction. What is this plane? How did it get there? Everyone seems to want to know.
Professional wreck diver Steve Philbrook is hooked by the image. He's determined to be the first to solve this mystery.
We have an idea where the plane is rumored to lay. It's going to be a large object. We hope to find it.
In the past, Steve has come across a range of dangerous submerged objects.
We see a lot of different things in the water. Sunken boats, trash, shipwrecks.
Minnesota has almost 12,000 lakes, most of them still unexplored below surface level.
We've got a lot of divers that are searching for wreckage because there's a lot of, wrecks that have not been found, and bodies still exist in some of those wrecks. Yeah, it's a little eerie.
The region's notoriously harsh weather can make the waters and the skies above them dangerous to the unwary.
Super cold winters, big, large thunderstorms, tornadoes. We are susceptible to some pretty big storms here. We've got lakes here that have some airplanes and helicopters known to go down.
In 1890, almost 100 people drowned when a devastating tornado hit a paddle steamer on Lake Pepin. If a similar disaster plunged an airliner to the lake bottom, it's likely there would be no survivors.
Obviously something terrible must have happened to this flight. If it's at the bottom of a lake, it's a nightmare scenario.
Visibility at Lake Harriet is limited, especially as you get towards the middle part of the lake.
Yeah, we can get an idea what the bottom looks like.
We've got a depth finder that we're going to use and go down and see what we can find when we get to the spot.
Drop right on it. Drop right on top of it.
If a passenger jet had run into difficulty over Minneapolis, Lake Harriet would have been an obvious place to ditch. Pilots are taught to use water to crash land.
Minneapolis is a major metropolitan area. If one did get in trouble, they wouldn't want to land in a residential area. They might see a lake and steer right towards it and try to set down there.
But some analysts are perplexed by the condition of the wrecked plane. Large aircraft on approach to landing travel upwards of 180 miles per hour, way too fast to hit the water and sink in one piece.
I think there's got to be another answer. Here we have another plane that hit the water. But if you look, it's missing sections and pieces of it had broken off, all right? So that's what a plane looks like when it's hitting the water and it's underwater. It's going to be in more than one piece. It's not going to be intact.
But other analysts disagree.
I don't have a problem with the plane being intact at the bottom of a lake. If it was a successful water landing, it wouldn't have broken up.
Recent history shows it is possible for a plane to remain intact if the descent is skillfully controlled. In 2009, a U.S. Airways A320 Airbus crash-landed into the waters of the Hudson River. In what became known as the Miracle on the Hudson, the aircraft and all 155 passengers and crew survived. Could the same thing have happened here?
Where are the passengers? Where are the pilots? Where are the witnesses to this incident?
Lake Harriet is in the middle of a very densely populated residential area, so if a plane did go down, it would be quite likely that somebody would notice it.
There are no recent reports of planes ditching over Minnesota lakes. Perhaps this wreck is the remains of an earlier incident, which has been forgotten or which never made the news.
The idea of a plane going missing today is something that would of course, all sorts of world news. In the Second World War, there was so much going on, actually. Aircraft were lost and simply not reported. They could have lain on the bottom of that lake for a long time.
As it happens, there was a plane that disappeared in this area. In 1950, Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 2501 went missing, and Lake Harriet sits right under its doomed flight path. Flight 2501 has never been found. If Steve Philbrook's dive team can find its remains, they will answer one of the longest-standing mysteries in the history of aviation. The divers descend to 90 feet. At this depth, visibility is so poor they can barely see beyond an outstretched arm. A shape looms out of the darkness. In the underwater gloom, it looks like part of the tail of an aircraft. But the divers' high-power lights reveal it to be nothing more than a piece of discarded junk. So far, they can find no wreck.
Well, not a lot of visibility. There's nothing down there.
The mysterious wreck, visible from space, seems to have become a ghost plane. In search of answers, journalists investigating the story turn to the source of the satellite image.
We reached out and notified them, and we asked them for some kind of explanation.
The satellite image providers launched their own investigation, which comes to the conclusion that there never was a plane in the waters of Lake Harriet.
Here's the thing about satellite images. They're not just one picture, it's a ton of them stitched together into this composite image. For fast-moving objects, this creates a problem, since it can be picked up by one